morning, everyone. I'm having to catch you up here. I had recorded part of this clock disassembly, and then my hard drive was full on the camcorder, so I had to delete everything. So the taking apart part and me discussing the history, I already did, and I'll try to catch you up a little bit. This is what it looked like intact. It's a Waterbury Toulon crystal regulator. This one right here is the model. This is from a 1917 magazine. It's from this catalog page is from a 1917 catalog. S.H. Clausen and Company, Minneapolis, Minnesota. But that's the model of the clock right there. And visible escapement, cast gilt bezel, beveled glass, 10 and 5/8 inches high, 7 inches wide, polished brass. Gold plated was $42. That was an option. Or polished brass was $38. So, there's a close-up of the face. These little things here are rubies, I believe. They will clean up and be add a little bit of red color to the front of this. Top, back of the movement. It looks like it's all silvered out, but that was light reflecting. It's still in really good shape on the back of the movement. So that was good. Whoa. Okay. All right. Let's see what other pictures. Had one screw missing off the bottom. There's the sides, beveled glass around the edges. It's going to clean up really pretty because you're going to be able to see this movement through the glass all the way around on the side. So that's cool. So, a little bit about this clock. To remove the whole face, there was a screw right here. This bigger screw is at the bottom right here. You unscrew that and you can twist the movement and the whole thing will slide out. So I didn't have to take the gong off, but I would recommend taking the gong off. It would make it a little bit easier. So take the hands off, take that screw out. You can twist and take it off. I've taken off this front plate, which wasn't difficult. This escapement with the rubies would slide forward and release this. You could take it off. And this is what it looks like. It's very bent. Even in the pictures, it's not centered at all. I've got this stick through here because I've got it wound and it keeps it from just unwinding like crazy. But this thing was so tight when I got it, I could not even move the gong lever at all. These screws were super tight. Everything was frozen up. When you turned the hands, I couldn't get the strike side to work at all. I wound the time side. It didn't try to tick or do anything. But with taking the virgin crutch out, you can see now it started really slowly, and then it finally went, oh wait, I've got some energy, and so all of this is working now. I've been studying it for a bit before I started taking pieces off, just to see how it works. And I'll put the camera back on the tripod and show you the strike mechanism. Alright, if I pull this out and let it slowly go. Well, first I've got to get this up. So there's your strike. The spring's on the wrong side of this little lever to make it work like it's supposed to, but it's not always catching right there. This little piece is not working like it should to lift it, fall back down like it should. It's got some gunk in it or something, but it's trying to work. So all of this was just totally frozen. I couldn't move this arm, nothing. And then it should go to the bottom and lock into there. And it is falling slowly and locking into there. But this needs to get cleaned good so that it's moving up and down like it should. Now, I'm surprised there's not any kind of little spring on it to hold it. Give it a little bit of tension. There may be when I get inside. I don't know. That's the hour. The hammer just really doesn't move much. I think it's touching somewhere it shouldn't. So there's two little teeth right here, two little pegs that make the gong go up and strike. And then it should all drop down when it locks. It's got a regular snail. The French ones I saw had a smooth snail, and you had to line up timing dots on it, timing marks on it, but this one has a regular snail like a cuckoo clock. So there's the half hour one time. So I'm happy that it's working now. Things are falling like they should. I feel a little bit more comfortable that if I take this apart and clean it, it's going to work like it's supposed to. So that's my next step. I've taken the wheel off the front. I've taken the virgin crutch out through that hole. And there's 4 screws here. Take this plate off. I need to take off the gong first. And yeah, we'll go from there. First things first, take the springs down. But yeah, that's good, just from messing with it and getting it moving and taking a little toothpick and getting some gunk out. They oiled things that shouldn't have been oiled, and some places the oil was black and hard and keeping it from moving. So if something doesn't turn all the way around, like this thing back in here, it doesn't need oil. If it does not make a complete circle, you don't need to oil these things. The brass needs to be smooth so things can fall up and down like they're supposed to. It's important to study a movement if you can get it to work before you take it apart, because you can see things like how the levers are interacting with the pins and the springs. So right now, this stop lever that locks the rack has a pin up against it. It's not the third wheel. Here's the great wheel, first wheel, second wheel. Nope, first great wheel, second wheel, third wheel, fourth wheel. So because there's 4 wheels, I know it's an 8-day. And then number 5 is my fan, governor fan. So there's 1 pin on this wheel. It's hitting the front of this lever that turns a corner and goes in to stop it. When you watch it really slowly, let's see if I can get it to show up. I'm going to slowly turn the time side. It's going into warning. See it lift up? It's letting the pin under. So then you have to look and see what it's hitting when it goes into warning. There is a silver lever all the way to the back on the plate back there. Has 2 functions. It has a lift arm that pushes this up when it's time, and at the very tip of the lever it's catching the warning pin, and I will probably have to show you that better when I've got it apart. That lever's all the way in the back down here. The springs are just about wound down. There's a tiny bit of power so that I can still show you things on here. But Doesn't want to work when it lies flat. Works pretty good up and down. See if it's going to lock. So that silver lever inside on the back side of this brass plate is what's hanging up, I think, and not letting this drop back like it should. So it's dirty up in there. But anyway, that's the strike side. So you need to know when you're setting it back up that this pin needs to go up against the face of this little lever right here to make your shut off at the appropriate time. I'm going to take these things off now. I take everything off and my springs aren't released. They're going to release really fast. So I'm going to go in stages for what I take off, because to release the springs I've got to get in the back side of this plate. I can't just unscrew this plate and lift it off. So I'm going to take off what I need to be able to flip this over and lay it flat. Remove that. So there's a spring here. I should be able to pull out a little bit and release the click and let it unwind. So it's a number 4 key. This is a 000. I got my little clock key set out to see what sizes they actually are. 000 for the top and number 4. So I can see the clicks at the bottom. Get a little bit more light shining up underneath there. I love this little book light. This is a little clip-on book light from Walmart, and it's great for, got a flexible neck. You can lay it down on something, bend it around to where you want, have your own little personal flashlight assistant. Okay, got a spring here. There's the click right in the front. I had it just about unwound all the way playing with it. So that's good. Okay, that one's done. And the click on this one is on the back. So wind slightly to get the click out of the groove. And the whole clock tries to move. Need like one more hand. Maybe a foot. Maybe I could hold it with a foot, huh? Alright, click is out, unwinding. Strike side had quite a bit left on it. barrel springs, so that's good. We'll pull those out and clean them. Alright, power is down. I took the front of this off, so I'm going to slide this little time adjuster out. That is not a washer that comes off. Okay. Alright, next lever. Spring. That's not going to come out. It's got plenty of spring to it, but that gong sure wasn't acting right. That should be pressure fit on. We're going to take this little pin out. These needle nose are really smooth. Trying not to score up everything. It wants to turn so bad. Wow, that is really tough for a brass pin. That's a lot of gunk on there when you can't even lift the washer off. Supposed to be stainless steel. Alright, another little pin. I'm going to take these 4 screws out. No, I'm going to take this pin out. There's a little bit of pressure to this. It's not, not a wide open hole. It's not gonna let me take that off with that on there. Alright, so I've got a hand puller. It should just be pressure fit on there. This one may be too big. It's too thick to get under there. So this one is a little bit more pointy. Maybe it will go under there. I don't want to mar up my brass. There's no pin, no screw. So it's got to just be pressure fit on there. Starting to move a little bit. Always vacuum the floor before you start, because when pieces go flying like that, it's easier to find them when they're varnished on there, because the oil has turned to a solid. Alright, now I should be able to get this off. We might be able to get it out intact. It depends on how much glue are on all these pivots over the years. That does not want to come out of that hole. That's the only thing holding me up, is the going movement in the center. There, golly. And you wonder why it wasn't going. Like, this is the lever I was talking about that trips the mechanism and puts it in warning, and it's just glued. Like, it's no wonder it's not falling. The oil, just unbelievable. So, where's my loop pin? Right there. It should go up and down like so. Catches it in warning, drops. These are the springs and the clicks for the barrels, and those will come off. They both have little screws, so I'll be able to clean the plate well. Alright, gotta stop and take a picture. Alright, so this lever gets pushed up by the little hurricane symbol. That's no different. One arm is shorter than the other because it pushes up one time for the half hour, just like a cuckoo clock. Pushes this up, which pushes the lever on the front up, releases the warning pin that comes down, goes into warning, is held right here. And then when the hurricane symbol goes by, lets it drop down, mechanism continues. So this is the time side. Gunky, gunky. I've got another thing to remove before those will come off. Okay. Well, we'll go over to the strike side. I like pictures and drawings, so I've drawn which way my individual arbors go, and I'm ready to take this strike side out. There is nothing on the other side of that. It's just that gunky. Alright. These are not going to come out until I remove these. I have kind of scratched at it some, gotten off what extra solder I could. I think it's silver solder, it's pretty shiny. Anyway, I've got my soldering gun. I'm going to try to not put more on there. My tip's got more solder than that piece does. Let's see if I can get some of that off. This piece actually came in this soldering kit. It was my grandfather's soldering kit. He was a plumber, and he also made some furniture. He was a pretty handy guy. But it's come in so handy with my clocks, I've kept it out of the soldering kit. I use it for a pointer. I use it for a lot of stuff. Works great to hold your movement. Stick it in the hole and stop the wheels from turning. Alright. I just don't want this to put more. Alright, I think it's pretty clean. Let's see what I can do here. I'm going to try to solder it to where it will run out of there. I'm going to have to smooth this one down a lot and get all this up of here. Alright, that looks decent. Maybe I can lift. If I can get under it. Nope, it's down very tight. Can't believe there's no gap. There's the gap. I could tap the whole thing out that way. And then put the wheel back on. I cannot believe they did this. There were two. They could have soldered the other one, you know? It wouldn't have mattered. Because it wouldn't have to come off. So the solder, heating it up, let me be able to put this on here and tap it through, and it came out. So I'll have to see what fun I'm going to get into putting that back together, but in the meantime it is off and I can address these. Should just be able to tap them. Where's my staking block? Oh, this side comes off. Okay. Alright, the little gear that the... I can't think. Spring clip. The clicker. I had to look at it to have the name come to mind. The little gear that the clicker hooks on just slides on onto the square part of the arbor, and the little decorative part was down. So flat part up, decorative part towards the spring. And then I took my key and wound this backwards until it released and I could slip it out. So that little spur is pretty sharp to wind and catch and go that way, but you can turn it backwards usually and get it to slip off. I had some that were very difficult to get to slip off, but anyway, this is what I did. Just tapped it a little bit, probably dented my desk. Wind it back. And it slips out. So when we pull these out and clean them and put them back in, we'll just do the reverse. We'll put it all into the barrel, and then we'll put this piece in and catch it with the key and see how it's starting to wind. If it just does that, pop, 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 and it won't catch, then we have to bend the very end of this smaller, curl it in more. See, this side catches pretty easily, but you want to know it's going to catch before you get it all put back together. So they both may need a little bit of adjusting, but anyway, we're ready to pull the springs out and get everything to the ultrasonic cleaner. So for this, I need my gloves. I've gotten one out of the barrel. It's pretty dry. Not really finding oil, grease, anything in there. It's been a long time since anybody was able to get that off, apparently. Anyway, they will get cleaned up and put back in. So, I've already taken my middle key winder piece out. If you haven't taken it out, you can use it to your advantage. If it's holding on the spring, you can use it to get your spring started coming out, but this one I'm going to have to bend a little bit to get it to catch again, so I won't be able to use it to help me pull it out. So you can grab a couple rows of these and start winding smaller and pulling towards you. Try not to use ones with teeth. You don't want to leave any sharp edges. I can't get this. I don't like what it's doing. You don't want to pull on it too much and ruin it. This one came out much easier. This one's going to give me some trouble. Probably why the thing won't go back on it, because it's given somebody else some trouble before. It just slips. Because I don't have teeth on here. I really need my winder to get it started, I think. So if I've gotten enough of a curly cue on there, maybe I can get the winder back in it. Let's see, short one goes through. Still not catching. Almost catching. So what I'm doing is trying to curl this little piece a little bit tighter, and the row that's next to it is what's going to put pressure to hold it tight. It starts to catch and then it lets go. That's what that pop is. Sometimes you have to go into the row next to it. And hold it on. I lost my pointy spiky thing. Anyway, I'm going to get this out. If you can just get it started, you can catch it in your hand and untwist it. Alright, I was able to get it started coming out here at me. I got a leather glove on this hand, a cloth glove on this hand, and glasses on. And I'm just going to wind it tighter and get it to unscrew. Golly, this one's giving me so much trouble. This one next to it, no problem. This one, pain in the butt the whole time. Alright, so if you pull it too much towards you, it's going to come out from between here and unwind real fast, so just beware of that. Like I've got it out now, and I'm just letting it unwind real slow. Okay, and then the other end has a hole like so, with a little hook, and you just push it toward the bigger end of that. I'm going to put a little bit back in so I don't put so much pressure. You can see inside here the hole in it in the spring is graduated, so I'm trying to push it from this small end to the big end so it'll pop off of there. Just got to push it 1/4 of an inch or so, and it just clicks down to the other end, so we should be good. There we go. Whew, okay. Goodness gracious. You didn't know you'd get a cardio workout doing clock repair, did you? Alright, this one is not any better shape than the other one. They're not, the grease on here has not started clumping up. The oil, whatever they used, it hasn't started drying and making a rough surface. It's still smooth, but it's not slippery at all. So, it'll be slippery when we're done. Off to the ultrasound. This is my ultrasonic cleaner. I got it set up in the kitchen with all my little cleaning solutions here. You see my peanut butter jar. That's what I use to store my solutions in. You'll notice some are clean and some are dirty. So these springs are going to go in this dirtier solution. And then they'll go in a cleaner one because they will tend to mess up your stuff faster. But I wanted to show you this little V4 ultrasonic cleaner. It's supposed to be a 2-quart. I thought, oh, this will be the right size. If you read the dimensions, you're like, you know, a clock plate should fit in there, no problem. Holds 2 quarts. Well, it doesn't hold 2 quarts because 2 quarts would be 8 cups and it holds about 5. And this little basket, you're supposed to put everything in a basket. You don't want it sitting straight on the bottom of your of your ultrasonic machine. So you see the little basket is not huge. But I like to clean mine in parts anyway. I have these little tea balls. One came with it. My dogs kind of chewed it up there. I had them all rinsed and sitting on the table, and they decided they liked one. So we went on a trip, came home, and this one was flat. So I was able to round it back out. But anyway, the one came with it, and I had 2 other tea balls of different sizes. So that's good for putting small parts in, and then you can hang the chain on the little edge and drop it in. And you don't lose anything down in the bottom of your solution, or chains, cuckoo clock chains, something like that, instead of it getting all tangled up in your wire basket. You could contain it in something. But when I take a clock apart, I put it in a lot of different partitions. This is everything off of the front for me to be able to disassemble it. The going train in the middle, and the plates, everything off the back. And then the strike side and the time side. So each part I'm going to clean by itself. So this is really the right size one for me. Just wanted to let y'all know, in case you're going to buy one, you want to go bigger than what size you think you're going to need, because your stuff's not going to fit in it, because they advertise what they can do. If this held 2 quarts, it'd be the perfect size. It holds about 1.5 quarts at the most. So it's a little bit tight. It's like a big cuckoo quail plate. It sticks up out of it. I have to flip it over and do half at a time in here. But it does have the heat function. I think it goes up to 45 or 50 degrees. I usually do about 40. And then the timer, 5 to 10 minutes, depending on your stuff. I would say 5 minutes with a heated chemical, and see how your plate is reacting, because you may think you have a solid brass plate and it's not. It might be plated stainless, so you might discover at 5 minutes you need to take it out so you don't damage it. But these wheels are going to look a whole lot better. And then I'm going to take some mothers to it. I'm going to take those off. I got to take those screws out too. I'm going to take some mother's polish and then the Renaissance wax, because I want it nice and shiny and none of that fingerprinty smeary stuff on there. And it'll be looking good. Did get the springs off of these. A couple of things to notice. There's a little hook on here that goes into a hole next to the screw hole. So that tells you where it goes back on. But they're not shaped the same. You need to notice, like you would think, okay, they're going to be the same. They're not. One is more rounded, one is straighter. So pay attention when you're taking them off, because there's a reason they were bent differently. The tips of these are flattened to catch on your clicker. So you want it good, making good contact. And your clicker has a little bit of a short end and a tall end. To me, it's shaped a little bit different. But also there's a ridge on the top. The little pointier end is what goes into your teeth. I wanted to share one other thing about peanut butter. So this is how I buy peanut butter. It's a lot. 5-pound tub of it. It's bigger than an average jar of peanut butter. Well, I didn't show you, did I? 5-pound jar of Skippy peanut butter, because we go through a good bit of peanut butter in our house. And this is a peanut butter jar from the turn of the century. So when we say we're getting obese in America, it might be from things like this. Our plates are bigger. If you look back in the 30s and 40s, when people were thin, their dinner plates were much smaller. And serving sizes, people actually paid attention to serving sizes. Here's a peanut butter jar with the label on it still. I haven't cleaned up here, but so you're going to see all the dust in my house, but Snowdrift Crisco. A Crisco jar was about a quart jar, and now we buy it in big tubs also. So between that and the advent of high fructose corn syrup going in everything that we buy, Americans are much larger than they used to be 100 years ago. My ultrasonic cleaner is just about warmed up. I had put the spring in my dirtier solution to start pre-cleaning it. It'll be the dirtiest thing. It's already looking mighty nice. It feels very smooth. Still dirt coming off. If you have a little scratchy pad they sell without the sponge, it's a little easier to get in here with. I'm out of them right now, or I would use one. But you can get a little bit further to the top with those. They'll fit where it's getting tight. So the ultrasound will get in there a little bit better than I did. But it's already looking very nice. So pre-cleaning that will keep my regular solution clean a lot longer. And we're at 40 degrees. So I'm going to put my barrels in. I'm going to put my fan. You can't see me. Where are you guys? I'm going to put my fan in my T-ball. Just because it's a little more delicate and I don't want it bumping around against anything. All of my screws are going to go inside something like this. That's not going to fit in that one. That's why I have different sizes. That'll go in, hook it on the handle, drop the other pieces in, and this is my strike side that's going to get cleaned. It's not super loud. I might be able to put that in here. Yeah. doesn't smell too strong with the lid on. So I'll give it 5 minutes and come back. We'll take a look. The timer just went off, so let's see how they look at 5 minutes. The heating helps break up the old oils and also helps your solvent work better, whatever you're cleaning with. It's already looking great. So I'll be rinsing all of these. Got down in the middle good of that. And the barrel looks a whole lot better. I'll scrub these a little bit and then I'll do the hand polish. This solution is 3 parts sudsy ammonia, 1 part Murphy's oil soap, and then 1 part of whatever cleaner you like. Pine Sol, Mr. Clean. So I do a cup, 3 cups of ammonia, 3 cups of the 1 cup of the Murphy's oil soap, and 1 cup of Mr. Clean. And that gives me 5 cups total, and that's just right to fill to this line. This was about $50. Lowe's.com has them. They don't have them in the Lowe's store, but you can order them online at Lowe's.com, and they will ship it to the store and you can pick it up. So it's a good investment for $50. I'm going to clean these other parts.